Hello everyone, we are here at the MPL Management Summit in Athens and I'm here with Norman Pepe from iLS London. Welcome you to the summit.
Welcome, thank you for having me here.
Of course, tell me a bit more about your background, who is Norman and what is your relation to the industry?
I'm a structured finance lawyer. I spent most of my career in international law firms, Freshfields, Paul Hastings, Bonelli, Rede Pappalardo. And then at some point I decided to, fly solo. And after a couple of experiences where I opened the offices in London for Italian domestic law firms, I decided to open my own law firm, which is iLS, originally called Italian Legal Services. But then I decided to, since it was a little bit odd name, I decided to just use an acronym that we felt it was much more appealing in a way. And by the way, the interesting part of it is that I didn't want the law firm to be linked to my own name. I want the law firm to be capable of absorbing new lawyers because it's a kind of project behind it.
Nice, interesting. Tell us a bit more about the iLS. What exactly that you're doing every day?
We advise mainly international investors and banks and rating agencies in the Italian NPL market. So effectively we help investors to negotiate the terms of acquisitions effectively of NPLs from Italian banks, or we help Italian banks selling their NPL stocks to international investors or domestic investors. We have a really specific, let's say, a line of business, which is the advisory to rating agencies, which is an interesting job because although you're still a lawyer, so you're looking at the legal aspects of a transaction, the perspective of a rating agency is a quite peculiar one because they do not expect you to do the markups and to get into the details of the overall transaction, but they want to understand the legal implication of the structure compared to what is their rating analysis. And I think there are not many lawyers which have been trained into this.
Very interesting. How big is the firm? How many clients do you have currently?
Okay, so our clients, unfortunately, I cannot tell the names. I think the rule of conduct of the Law Society prevents me from doing that. We have a major global U.S. investment fund based in Miami. We have a very important, prominent German investment banks, so people can guess, but still I'm compliant. Then we have the third Italian banking group as a client. And then we have a number of other US funds and domestic clients. For them, basically, we do what I discussed earlier. But the main point I want to emphasize is what is the philosophy behind our law firm. Our law firm is an Italian law firm based in London and which has recently opened an office in Milan. Actually, our trading name is iLS London Milan, just to emphasize the fact that we are in both jurisdictions. We have recently acquired in London a new English law partner, Connor Downey, which is a star in the sector. So we are also opening our law firm to that jurisdiction in which we actually operate already. But my personal focus is on Milan. I would like Milan to develop to become the real main office of the firm, because effectively that's where we come from. So it makes sense to have a hub in Milan which do the work and tap into the Italian market and the Italian clients, and to have an exposure to London, where obviously, which is a huge market and where we can really do well with international clients, I believe. And that's our culture. We come from that culture. One of the main points that we sell with our clients, whether explicitly or implicitly, is that we understand international clients, how they think, and basically we provide a sort of cultural bridge between them and the players in Italy. Because sometimes there are no real problem, but there are communication problem. The clients do not understand, how what is the Italian approach. So there are lengthy discussions. While when instead, if you really to distill whatever is the message that they have to understand, then everything it becomes much easier and smoother. That's where we actually, I think we did a good job, and that's the type of recognition that we got.
That's amazing. It's so interesting that you mention all these points. How do you see the market as of today, and where do you think that we are heading?
Okay, fine. At the moment, I'm quite busy. I mean, I have to say that we super busy, crazy busy. I see that at the moment the pipeline is good. Whether this will continue in 2023 is unclear, especially with the Italian market, because the government is thinking about renewing a tool that they had in the past called GACS that probably will shift a lot of transaction into this kind of, type of transactions, which is not bad for us because we advise rating agencies, so we still have a say there probably. But obviously, it's much more interesting when you do the real deals where there is a seller, there is a buyer, you advise one of the two, and you get involved in hot conversation and discussion, negotiation. That's what I will like. Having said that, it's quite unpredictable at the moment. Obviously, the signs that we get with inflation, recession, they are not necessarily great. Although for our sector, the fact that the economy slows down is a kind of, if you want an engine for the production of new NPLs. So unless this may collapse the entire system, which obviously we do not hope for, it may be interesting to see in the future whether this new stock of NPLs will generate more work.
Right. And what would you say that to everyone who would like to enter the market as of today? What would be your good advice for anyone who is thinking about just starting?
As an investor, you mean?
As an investor or anyone who has a portfolio of distressed assets, how to approach the market?
I mean, if you're an investor, what I see as a possible opportunity is especially the secondary market connected to previous GACS transactions. I do believe that at some point, for several reasons, this transaction, these SPVs, will have to offload whatever they bought in the past on the market. So I see a lot of activity there. Maybe not necessarily huge portfolios, but they may be able to buy nice sub-pools or single names where you analyze very analytically the single position and you try to make a good deal. So I see a lot of activity there. For those ones who have already a stock of NPLs, if we are talking about banks, probably they will go for the GACS, or they may try to sell to AMCO, which is the state-owned company, which makes quite interesting pricing, I have to say, for several reasons. Or you can go for this new structure where basically several banks will contribute their NPLs in an investment fund. In this way, they're able to basically they recognize the NPLs and acquire on the balance sheet the units of the fund, which it's a kind of management of their capital requirements, which provides some kind of leave room for a while, temporary. But obviously, if the performance then is not great, they will have to take the hit at some point, although later is better than earlier in their view, probably.
Got you. Thank you so much. Where do we find you, Norman? How do we reach out to you?
We have a very nice, actually we have two websites, one for iLS Milan and one for iLS London. You can find my bio and the bio of my colleagues there, and obviously all my contact details. I would love to hear from our audience if they're interested in what we said, and obviously if they are interested in our services.
That's great. Thank you so much, and thank you for everyone who was watching us. Reach out to Norman. Thank you.